Good morning from smoky Southern California. Hope you can hear me okay. Alex, thank you for stopping by. Not sure if you're still here, but saw you in the chat. You guys, California is in big trouble and it's really sad. It's been a really, really hard week. It's been a hard couple of weeks, to be honest. Hey, Alex. Okay, good. So you can hear me. Is the mic okay? I moved all my stuff. So that's my German Shepherd, Lexi, in the background. You want to see hi, Lexi? Come here. She got a major surgery last week, 2 weeks ago now. She developed a disease called canine ulcerative stomatitis, periodont, something. It's called cups. And she had to have all of her teeth removed. And mommy had to cough up about $7,000. So I have just been working my butt off. And of course, working so much, I got sick. I got the flu for about a week. I'm just getting over it. I work at a place where a lot of tourists come from all over the country, all over the world. And it tends to have a lot of sick people come through. Come here, Lexi. Don't knock the camera, please. Come here. So it has been rough with the wildfires and the smoke. Our power has been going on and off since Tuesday. It's now Saturday. The town that I live in now, I grew up in LA, born and raised. I moved away just over a year ago. And it's been very nice and peaceful to be away from Scientology and just the constant reminders of the church and family and friends I used to have and all of those things. It's been really nice to be in a peaceful, calm, spiritual part of California. And me and my dogs have been liking it. But thankfully, we do not have a major fire out here. And they have sent our resources to Los Angeles to fight the fire. Not all of them, but a lot of them from Palm Springs area, from Joshua Tree area, from Yucca Valley, from Morongo Basin. I know places are sending from all over, but us specifically, we are getting our power cut out because of we can't have a fire. We're in the desert and all of our resources are gone. So they keep turning all the power off. So it is a little apocalyptic out there because everybody rushed to the grocery store. It felt like COVID all over again. There were people in line with the generators going and they had all the toilet paper. And I just haven't had the mind to deal with it because I have been ill. And before the year ended, it's just been a little bit of a tough couple of weeks because Christmas Eve, I found out that a close friend of mine out here passed away. And thank you. Yeah, it is terrifying. I'm totally okay. I'm making it through. A close friend of mine passed away, and there's a big void out here now. I worked with her very closely and she was just awesome. So it's been really rough going back to work. Everybody's grieving and mourning and we just really miss her so much. The drug crisis is out of control. And I hope that everybody just really stays safe and don't make any life-changing decisions, based on a mood. Please always take a step back. And that comes to what you're going to take, what you're going to drink, what you're going to smoke, all of that. Like at the end of the day, we just want you around. So we had that. That was Christmas Eve. And then I was going to go visit some family in Arizona. And we had a medical emergency in the family. So we ended up canceling Christmas. So I stayed home and I did laundry on Christmas. But I made some yummy food for my dogs and just chilled and watched a movie. So it was nice to have a day off. I definitely suffer from CPTSD, as do a lot of second gens. It seems to be a common diagnosis among us, and some days I just don't have energy to do anything. So sometimes a day like Christmas is just like, just want to do nothing, just relax. So between Lexi's surgery, Christmas, people passing away, then we had the fires break out, and it has just been such a tragedy for LA. It's surreal to watch. I hope that everybody who is in the Los Angeles area is staying safe and evacuating when they tell you to. I've been just glued to the news. It can't be healthy, but something that made me want to get on today and what really freaking pissed me off was I saw this beautiful community. Go lay down, baby. Please, lay down. She wants all the attention. Every time I hit live, she's like, right here. Lay down, Alexis. So in Pasadena, all these people had put together kind of like a makeshift donation situation at the Rose Bowl. And it was being covered on social media. And it was just so beautiful. It brought tears to my eyes. And then this morning, I wake up to a photo of, I'm not sure, I might mess it up if I try to share it, but you can look on Reddit. I'm going to try to bring it up, actually. But basically, it's somebody posted that Scientology volunteer ministers had stopped by and took half of the donations for themselves. And they were like, if you see these people, don't let them in. They'll steal your goods. And it's just really outrageous because you know that they're going to be presenting these things as donations to their community, that people who are Scientologists thinks that they're donating money to these volunteer ministers, and they're going and picking up supplies. So let me try to see if I can share this. Okay, here we go. Can you see this? Yeah. So this was what was on Reddit this morning. Beware of these people. They came to the Santa Anita Racetrack Donation Center and helped themselves to okay, so they were in Santa Anita and helped themselves to food and goods for their low-income community. What the fuck? Wouldn't listen to us volunteers, and now half the food is gone. Like, my blood just started to boil when I saw that. And let's see, as I'm reading through what some of these people said. People are saying it's theft. You should call the police. The tactic is to hinder other charities so they get a bigger spotlight for charitable work. Definitely report this to Police National Guard. This is tame. Scientology also provides mental health services for disasters with personnel that aren't certified to provide such services. Also, the church is opposed to modern psychology in general. Ain't that the truth? This is the comment I thought was very astute. I'm thinking they probably took the stolen food and supplies to another donation site, claiming the donations were from them for tax write-off and PR. Exactly. Someone else says, I wondered the same because Scientology's Instagram story after this post, it shows them unloading stuff at their LA site. Sus as F. I mean, you guys, this is embarrassing. As a Scientologist, I thought that at least in my head, maybe a lot of it didn't make sense anymore, but at least the volunteer ministers were out there doing really good work. I'm sorry, my voice is so hoarse. The smoke outside has just been like ravaging our lungs. So they actually go to a charity site, pick up food and drop it off, allegedly. I'm disappointed. They have so much money. This is unnecessary if it's real. And it's just funny that part of me is like, if it's real, because I want to give Scientologists the benefit of the doubt, but really shouldn't. What else? Sometimes there's this cognitive dissonance when looking in the media, like especially seeing when Mike Render passed, and my condolences to those who loved him and knew him well. And I just feel so horrible for his family. But seeing his death all over like New York Times and TMZ, and then reading people's comments, it gives me such a sense of just this cognitive dissonance. Like people are peering into this world and commenting on it. And all these people in the world have these opinions of Scientology that I have no idea about. And I go around mostly not talking about it ever. So this is on YouTube, very, very different than my real life. Most people have no idea about my past because, you know, Scientology is creepy. And people think you were like part of a human trafficking cult or just stupid. And that's just kind of like been the story my whole life. So I've always just had a tendency of like keeping it really chill until someone has to know that part about me or I'm willing to share. But seeing things like Mike Render's death, or when Leah Remini goes through the divorce with her husband, it's always like, oh my gosh, the rest of the world knows about this really tiny little sect where everybody knows each other. Because in Scientology, everybody did know each other for real. Like between me and a really close friend, we knew every single teenager kid from both coasts. So I'm still constantly hearing updates about like Scientology kids who are passing away by suicide and things like that. And I'm not talking about it. And it just feels like walking around with a lot of blah. Like I can't say anything. It's really not my business to say anything. I don't need to. But it's just sad to know that these things are still happening and that people are suffering. And I'm going to school so that I can better assist people who have been through spiritual abuse. I'm in my 5th semester of my graduate program, and eventually I'll be able to help people in a professional capacity, because I really do think it's all about setting and ethics and doing things in an actually helpful way, and not making damage any worse for trauma survivors. Alex says, same. And when I tell people about it, they're like, what? And I stress, yeah, I'm not in it anymore, though. Yeah. I mean, it's just embarrassing. And honestly, it's really embarrassing to have to tell people that, like, my family chose this science fiction cult over having a relationship with me. And I know it's their problem, but it's also my problem because I have to deal with it and live my life without that structure that a family provides. And Scientology already didn't prepare us for life very well. I think most of us would agree. So it kind of is a double-edged sword, and you have to be really independent and resilient and strong, or you risk being taken advantage of again, emotionally. I've seen a lot of, or physically, I've seen a lot of former Scientologist women who I know who have gotten into abusive relationships after the cult because they don't we didn't know what boundaries were. We don't know basic things about respect and how people should treat you. I think a lot of us lack an internal self-confidence in what we deserve. And it's taken a while to like focus on creating that for myself, even though my parents were always very encouraging. Thankfully, that is something that sticks with me, but it was always like, as long as you follow the program. So there's always conditions. So I think a lot of us had conditions, literally and Scientologically, conditions on what love or acceptance looked like and approval. And sometimes it felt so good to get that approval, but you had to be silent about things that you didn't agree with or didn't think were right, or you just knew, and so you just knew that part of you was slowly dying, and eventually that part of you is slowly dying just completely has to get free. I think it happens with everybody. You reach a certain point where the cognitive dissonance is no longer bearable, and you end up having to make a change. And I hope that there's a lot of people who want to make that change. If you survivors under the radar out there and more curious about, I cannot more highly recommend education. So you're not a looter and a huckster like our old people. Like, we want to be active in our communities and involved in the world. And I've gotten so much from just being connected to educational resources, universities, professors, counselors, all of that. So I think anybody who's interested in maybe starting to unprogram your Scientology brain, maybe take a basic Psych 1 class. You'll be fascinated. My mind blew when I was going through my psych undergrad. Also, I spoke to Serge Opolinsky yesterday, and he is safe, but he did tell me about how the fire got pretty close to where he is. So, sometimes we all got to check on each other because we actually don't have other family. We want to make sure that everybody's safe. A lot of us are in LA. It's not uncommon for ex-Scientology kids to escape to the desert for a little bit and deprogram. So I encourage anybody who needs a little space to consider leaving the area for just a little bit, especially if you're being harassed. The harassment was just too much in Los Angeles. And they have resources everywhere. And there's just not that many Scientologists outside of, I should say that. There are people in San Bernardino or people all along the way, but they're, what are they going to do? I saw a woman who I used to work with at my current work who came in and made eye contact with me. And I got a little tripped out at first because I realized that she's a high level OT, and she was like an OT committee lady. And she had come in to a company I was working with to do WISE stuff like many, many, many years ago. And it was a really weird interaction because at first I was like, oh, is she here to see me? And then I just decided I'm just going to stare at her and see what happens. So I stared at her for a good minute. And then she just walked away and went to the other portion and asked someone else for something. So it was pretty successful, I'd say, even though she was there for the night. I don't know if she was just having fun or if she was working, because it's an establishment where a lot of different types of people come in. So Serge is good, which is awesome. We love Serge Oblinsky. You guys don't have a desert in the UK? Sorry, Alex, that sounds really dumb, but that's kind of crazy. Yeah, confront and shatter. I literally was like just staring, and I don't know. She took it as a sign. Left me alone. That's all I asked for. So I don't know. I've also been thinking about, I know it's super controversial, but like, leave your comments about what you guys think about the PTSD treatments that everybody has been receiving in form of like an injection. I read that John Atack said that he felt there was not enough evidence for CPTSD, but I don't know if that's true. I haven't done the research into it to see if there have been trials with CPTSD versus just your traditional PTSD, because it is very different. But hey, I'll do anything to reset that nervous system. I feel like so many of us have been running in fight or flight for so long that this year I've really committed myself to practicing mindfulness and like being in the moment and noticing my physical senses and trying to take more pleasure out of just the simple beauties of life and doing more things that I love, like cooking, yoga. I really would love to foster another pup. I have yet to make connections out here in the desert, but I do feel like there's plenty of dogs who need a place to go right now. So if anybody needs help with that, please contact me. My email, vanessa.larose6@gmail.com. I would love to help anybody displaced by the fires with their animals if they need help, or put you in touch with resources, because I have done rescue in the Los Angeles area for the last decade. And it is a terrifying time because the shelters were already overcrowded. I don't know how everybody's managing right now. And I stay up at night worrying about the poor animals and what I can do to help. Unlike, I'm just thinking of the thumbnail of my video. Unlike the Church of Scientology going over and taking photos everywhere. That's another thing we heard, is that they were showing up, photographing people like it was their efforts. Like, these are the things they're going to show at the events. And they were just showing up at other people's efforts and filming it and making it seem like it was all them, which is nothing new. School's starting this next week. Please wish me luck. I have a couple pretty intense courses, and between working all the time, yeah, like vultures, exactly. Hi, Power Lies. What did Alex say? John read a bunch of research papers and he said they were all trials around combat trauma, specifically, not other forms of PTSD or complex PTSD. I think it's still being researched. Yeah, so exactly. I am interested, but again, I'm like, after you get out of Scientology and you're not super prepared for life, not everybody gets like a freaking incredible job where you just get incredible insurance and you can just pay for these things and it's no big deal. Like, most of us are hustling a lot, and a lot of us are in service industries, and a lot of people who I know who grew up in the Sea Org do construction. A lot of us are very hard workers to just make ends meet. So I don't know, like, you guys got any suggestions? Can you put a shot on your Amazon wish list? Maybe some Epsom salt would be helpful. Maybe I should put that on. I do want to this year work on actually doing more. I think I'm going to rename the channel Recovering from Scientology and take you along on a journey of a little bit about what I'm learning in school as I learn it, because the 4 years of undergrad education was so mind-blowing. And then once you learn something, you kind of forget that you didn't know it or that other people didn't know it. So I never know exactly what to talk about, but it was stuff that really changed my life and I think could help a lot of people. Just talking about basic psychology concepts that are, evidence-based, and basic philosophical concepts that LRH may have ripped from. They're very helpful to sort out how to not think Scientologically anymore. I have a bookshelf so full of books, and I get so passionate about my textbooks and stuff. So I just want to be a resource to help people who don't have the time to go sit in a class for 8 years, 9, 10 years to become a professional licensed social worker or mental health professional. Also, where I work at a crisis support center, we're always getting training on trauma and the current helpful research and methods we can use to help people who have been severely traumatized. And it's really like, I don't want to hold all this incredible information. Maybe that's the former Scientologist in me. I'm like, disseminate. But truly, I want to be a helping hand to anybody who's suffering and not just feeling great all the time, and not just, a lot of people who have dealt with disconnection have dealt with it. And then it's kind of in degrees. Like if it's your parents, it really shakes your core to a degree that's just like you go get therapy every week, like I do. It's just part of recovery. And a lot of people who I talk to just don't even mention therapy, and they don't want to talk about anything. And I just feel it's important. So if anybody wants to support me on my Recovering from Scientology channel, please leave comments, share videos, subscribe, all of those things. I guess I need to do an intro video and a couple little things like that, little tasks to get a YouTube set up, but it should be pretty easy. I've just been lagging between school and work and dogs and life. But I really love how many YouTubers are on now talking about Scientology, and it's really everyone has such different perspectives, and the drama is the drama. And I don't know, I think if we can stay out of it, we should, because why do OSAs work for them? If people are your friends and then they're not your friends, fine, live and let live, there are people who said a lot of really nasty, untrue things about me that hurt me so deeply. I was shocked and silent for so long. But hey, that's what they're going to have to deal with. People live their lives, and true friends are there by your side when you need help. Alex is a very true friend of mine. Alex has always been there for me. We've always checked in on each other since we started this YouTube journey. It's been really wild, almost 2 years, a year and a half since I started to go public. I don't think I've even processed all the things that have happened. Sometimes I go back through things I have recorded on my phone, and it's just wild. And this is a wild time. And it's sometimes I think about the anonymous movement, and we're in a different era now, in a different wave, and we're not anonymous, and we're showing our faces, and we have the courage to show our faces. But that also still comes with consequences from Scientology. And I don't know. I feel like most people don't. I don't know if they don't. I guess their harassment campaigns go up based on how much of a threat they feel you are or not. But of course, I had to super be creepy and study psychology and psychiatry and be an advocate for mental health. So I bet they get extra CCHR money to fuck with me if they want to. But I'm glad that most of this stuff has stopped for now. Last year, like having my emails hacked all the time, having just the craziest cars following me, pulling up and staring at me and parking next to me and filming me at the gas station. And it's just like, it's lame intimidation tactics. And this is freaking America, like the land of the free. Okay. Scientology, that's why this morning I woke up with such a rage when I saw that they were using the disaster as a PR moment. It's just like, what are you guys doing? And it infuriates me because they're lying to Scientologists who don't see these kinds of Reddit posts, or who don't ever think that Scientologists would do bad, because that's what we were taught. Like, this is our community. And that's why it makes it dangerous for predators, because you literally think that because they're Scientologists, you could trust them. And trust in the real world has to be earned and should be taken away when, proven unworthy. So I don't know. It's just been a freaking wild month. I'm so glad that the holidays are over. It's a really depressing time for me. And I'm so glad that I don't have to breathe the air right now, but I do feel so bad for everybody who has to breathe this horrible, horrible air, who have lost everything. Everybody's talking about how, literally, I've been talking to people from out of state, and they're like, oh, the poor celebrities and their mansions. It's so sad. And I'm like, have you seen any of the footage from Altadena where everybody has lost their family homes that have been in there? It's many people from the lower class who have been able to accumulate wealth for the first time in their family, who have lost their homes and lost everything. And it was really, truly sad to watch. Homes were burning on the news. There were firefighters having to literally pick and choose which houses they're going to save or not. A man was caught in the fire, hosing his house off, and was in that position as he passed away. And they could not get in to bring his body out for a few days because it was so hazardous. Like, guys, this is crazy. And LA politics right now are wild. I think that our mayor I dislike her. She doesn't, every time she gets on stage, it just feels like false. Like, I'm not even hearing anything she's saying. Like, it's just a really prepared speech. And the LA Fire Department captain last night actually spoke out about their budgets being cut for the last 5 years and them being dramatically underfunded. Yeah, she has taken checks from Scientology. Great point. Call her ass out, Karen Bass. But she, the fire department chief, who is a very hardworking woman, was honest last night, and her voice was quivering because she knew she wasn't supposed to be saying it. She sounded like a cult member to me, but she said, it's true. We've been cut the last 3 years. We've known about this. We're just severely underfunded. I believe there was something like, we're supposed to have 62 fire stations in Los Angeles that are being built to, which they're not, but we need 62 more to just be at normal capacity, let alone all of these kinds of climate change issues that we've been having. This is like absolutely ridiculous. This is just year after year. And Pacific Palisades is gone. It's just gone. Like, it feels extremely apocalyptic in California right now. And we need true leadership. So when people are actually on the news city leaders are yelling about it, that they are incredibly underfunded. you know, I'm grateful I was able to move out of the city, honestly, and have a bit better quality of life. Sometimes you don't understand what a pressure melting pressure pot of trauma that you're in the cities sometimes until you leave, and how much chaos and stress everybody's going through. So being out of the city has really helped my nervous system for sure. But you know, I'm a lifelong, I spent 36 years of my life living in Los Angeles, and I'm severely disappointed at the leadership, and I'm so grateful to the firefighters for doing what they're doing, because they're great, dude. Firefighters are awesome. I've never had a bad interaction with a firefighter. They've always been extremely heroic, especially ours in California. I don't know if you guys have been watching any of the social media drops of water that have been filmed of these incredible copters dropping water all over the California wildfires. And it's just like, they're so professional and they were ready for this. And we also have part of our prison population out there fighting with Cal Fire every day. And these men are being interviewed and saying that they're actually grateful for the opportunity to be doing this. And so we have a lot of great people out here doing a lot of great things. But we also need people to pray for California. Like, I was not a believer in prayer too much. Still not too much, but I am just a little bit. And I think it can't hurt to just ask whoever it is that you pray to, say a little thought out loud, especially for the animals of California, because they are put out right now and it's just tragic. I don't know what's going to happen from here. It seems just absolutely surreal. So I am far away. I'm 2 hours away and I'm in the desert. I'm praying our power doesn't go out again. I'm praying that we don't have a fire spark up here. There have been devastating fires in the area that I live because it's so dry. And having all the power out last couple of days has just really shown you what you need in an emergency. And if you're like, just do things, be prepared. Like, charge your phone. If you have power, charge it right then. Charge your e-cigs, charge your laptop, pour water in the sink. Like, I didn't have, my stove wouldn't work. My internet wouldn't work. My power wouldn't work. It's very cold here. So make sure that you have like enough animal food, things like that, enough gas in your gas tank. Like, just don't go below half if you live in California. It's just really, when the power went out, all the gas stations closed. So what then? And what if we had a fire? Where are you guys, like, what are we going to do? It's really scary. So we got to take being prepared a little bit more seriously. That's also one of my goals this year. I don't know if anybody has any tips or lists, but I'm all for it. So yeah, shame on Mayor Karen Bass. She took checks from Scientology once. She's clearly a sellout. I don't think she did follow through with her promise on anything she said to Mike or Leah about making, you know, change about Scientology in Los Angeles, because she did say that. She met with them allegedly. You guys like green juice? It's my favorite, and it's very healing and healthy. For my Christmas present to myself, I also got a very white girl Stanley mug. Special edition, pink flamingo. So I will be very hydrated this year. I sat down, I did a list of goals, and it was made very clear to me through some classes that if one does not know where they're going, how are they supposed to know how to get there? So I always try to make it a point to make realistic, smart goals, goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and that you can time. So I try to make goals like I will make a YouTube video per week for 1 month, and then it's something that you can actually complete. And the small steps are what create the big changes. And it's just remembering that pattern of like, okay, just little chunk by chunk makes the big changes. But if we don't start, we're never going to get to where we want to be, right? And a lot of us have it just, it's a challenge, especially anybody facing depression, anxiety, PTSD, CPTSD, any kind of disorder that affects your quality of living. Like, one day at a time sometimes is all you can do, one foot in front of the other, especially when it's all doom and gloom. So I'm a realist, and I don't want to ever have a fake show or any kind of veneer about what I'm doing on YouTube, because as a former Scientologist, I'm used to having to think through everything and the effect that it will create on everybody and everything, and how I'm going to be responsible, and how it's a lot of mental work, and I'm not doing those mental gymnastics anymore. So just being real is the only way we can be, and we can face things together and with community. And at the end of the day, we're all just humans. We all have challenges. We all have wins that we can share with each other, band together, and become more of a community that cares about each other. I have had a few people reach out and send emails like, Vanessa, are you okay? I haven't heard from you in a while. Me and Daniel Mustard were doing our weekly show, and then I think my credit card got lost, so I had to order a new one, and it ended up canceling my StreamYard. And I went in and I realized it was really expensive every month to pay for that StreamYard Pro. So I ended up canceling it. So we just have not done it because we've on the normal one, you just have to have this dumb logo in the corner, and you also can't stream to both channels at the same time. So it's a challenge because we've wanted to do our weekly thing, but right now I'm like, until the channel makes any money at all, which I'm very close to being monetized for commercials. You guys can send super chats and become members now, which is sick. But there's also, once it becomes a certain point of views, then you get paid on commercials and stuff. So right now I still don't have commercials on my personal channel. We had gotten it up to that on the Degraded Daughters and stuff, but now Alicia is running that full time, and I'm just over here going to do my own thing. So yes, Alex, we all have to look out for each other when we can, at least give benefit of the doubt and give resources and support when we are available to do so. The community that was built early on in the SBTV community felt like we were all really onto something. Alicia is okay. I don't know. We don't really talk anymore. We just had some miscommunication, and there was some, she just decided, I guess, to be friends with people who she had known much less time than me. And we haven't really spoken. I think she's okay. I don't really check out the channel. It kind of upsets me because I put my heart and soul into that channel. I do miss those days too, Alex. Maybe we can go back to more regularly having shows together and have like some fun while we do things to bring. That's okay. It's a very valid question, Hans. Maybe we can just have more fun, like bringing Scientology stuff to light while also talking about kind of more heavy stuff like mental health and, just like being honest about the effects that Scientology has on young minds, all minds, coercive control, how we can stop Scientology from capitalizing on man being basically good. I think that they have a lot of really nice, good-hearted people in there on top of everything else you hear about and everything else we talk about. There's a lot of really good people that are being taken advantage of. So that's where my heart goes out to. And that's why it's hard to watch for me, like the TikTok protesters, because I feel like not all of them, but a lot of them just like screaming at Scientologists or making a worse impact on them. They're beginning to feel more afraid of the outside world, which is what Scientology already tells you. It's very they paint the picture that the WOG world is just already super scary and dangerous, so that now when you have quote unquote enemies, you don't understand they're actually trying to help you or help people to not ruin their lives. But you don't get that when you're in a cult. So it's just like challenging sometimes to know the right way to protest. And the only thing I know I can do is use my voice, be consistent, show up for people, be educated, because that is going to do a favor for everybody. Sometimes it's hard to communicate your thoughts if you don't know that other people have the same concepts. So that's why it's hard for us as former Scientologists. Sometimes if we only speak Scientology, like when we get together, we just end up going back to that. It's like a first language. But it's also hard when you're learning a bunch of new concepts about recovery and trauma and the brain and addiction and mental health and what auditing does and TRs and all of these things. And you're just like, your mind is blowing as you're learning all of these things. But then if your other friends don't like look into that or they don't care, it becomes like you're very distant. So I want to share that here with you guys in a supportive environment where, I'm going to have mod rules and all this kind of jazz. Don't want to have any kind of troll situations, but also like, I don't care. I like how Dodge does his chat. He kind of just like lets everybody talk about whatever they want. And honestly, that's the way you have to do it on YouTube. Any interaction tends to be like good interaction for YouTube as far as what they're promoting. So for me, it's important that the people who need to know about mental health topics get it. And those are the people who are recovering from cultic environments, because it's such a dangerous, scary time right when you come out of the cult. So anyway, you guys, I'm so sorry for my voice. It's been so hoarse. And I just wanted to give an update from Southern California. I'm live. We'll continue to go on, continue to take care of my doggies and myself. And I hope and pray that these fires get out soon. It's windy outside right now. It's very windy where I live. And they are expecting more gusts on Monday and Tuesday. So I don't know what we can do. If you can donate to the Red Cross, any local animal shelters that you can, it would be incredible. And let's expose Scientology for this crap on volunteer minister stuff. Like, it's literally embarrassing. Like, I used to wear that yellow shirt too. So I woke up enraged. I feel like I've gotten it out. All right, you guys. Thanks for being here. Bye, Alex. Bye, Hans. Bye, Power Live. Bye, everybody. I'll see you soon, okay?